So welcome back to my channel. I'm going to show you how I actually created that in Figma. It's just like kind of a VR immersion kind of design that I made using Figma. So I'm going to show you how I actually created that in Figma. So these are the icons that I used. This is basically going to be the icons that I'm going to be using. I got this from Iconify and Feather Icons. So some of these icons is just something that I got from Iconify and also from Feather Icon. These are just random text that I'll just be adding on the design. So to get started, I'm just going to select my frame and get MacBook Pro 16. Then we're just going to have this here, then give it a corner radius of 20. So once I have the corner radius of 20, the next thing we're just going to do now is to import the video we are going to be using as a background. Now to import the video, I'm just going to go to this place and place image. So here are some screen recording that I did. You can actually reuse, and I'm going to show you how I actually got this video screen record. So you can actually screen record videos from YouTube or any place, probably from Instagram or anywhere. Just record it and use it as the background video that will be playing. But just make sure that the kind of video you're going to be using is something that can look like a VR effect. So here is the one that I'm going to be using. I'm just going to go to my recent, then get this video and place it here. So once this is placed here, I'm going to just adjust it. Yeah, so have the video placed like this. So when we preview this video, it's definitely going to be playing. Then the next thing you're going to do, I'm just going to increase this a bit. Right, so once I have this, I'm just going to call this a background, and I'm going to pick a frame, then just draw another frame. And now the thing that we're going to be doing is to actually have this field. Then we click on linear gradient, then now we're going to set a variable for this. I want to use variables, so I'm going to go to my colors, just click outside the frame, and this is the old one that I'm using. So to add a new one, I'm going to create new collection. So here we're just going to call it color 2. So once I have the color 2, I'm just going to set create color, and we're just going to use white for our text. Then here I'm going to say color black if we are going to definitely have black, but I doubt if we're going to have black. Then here we're going to call this main background, or we can just call it background 1. So select this, come here and pick any color that you feel you want to use. So we can actually edit this and make some iterations around these colors. It's not final. Now I'm just going to close this. Then we need to actually give the opacity of 70. So we set this at 70. Now select another one, color. I'm just going to select a darker part of this. So here I'm also going to set this at 70. Now basically this is just what we need for now. We are going to add more colors as time goes on. So select this, go to linear and pick this, go to library and set this background. So I'm just going to say local colors, and that's it. So this is the color 2 and this is the color 1. So I'm just going to be using the color 2. So I've shown you guys how I actually added those colors. So here I'm going to select this one, then set this one, and we're going to pick this one. So I'm just going to slightly tilt it to the direction I want it to go, and yep. So we have something that looks like this. Now if you look at this, it's kind of transparent, but that is not what we're trying to achieve. Just going to give it a corner radius of 20, then come to effects, then click on background blur, then set the background blur to 25. So now we have this background blurred out, more like kind of now we're going to add the drop shadow drop shadow might not really come out, but we're just going to add it. So we'll have the drop shadow. And now that this is set, the next thing we're going to do now is to create our profile. So I'm just going to drop this, then scale this. I just press scale on my Mac, and I'm going to take this to be, click here if you want to make the changes once. I'm just going to set this to 55. Then here, once it's 55, just zoom in it close so you see what I'm doing. I'm going to have my name written there, just Kingsley White. So once we have this, set this to 16 from regular to semi bold. Now select these two and just match auto layout. Press Shift A to add auto layout. Now once we have that sorted, the next thing we're going to do now is to select and say start a thread. So once you have this written, we just add another auto layout. Then we're going to kind of expand this. Make sure this is set to the left, top left. We'll leave it here, and here we're just going to add a few. Now what I'm going to do now is just to set a color, then add it to my variable. So I'm going to set a befitting color to this. I'm just going to pick a color here and get it to be darker. Then set this. I'm just going to set this to 50, and yep. So 10. To add this to your variable, what we're going to do now is to come here to the plus sign, then give the color a name. So we're going to call this one background 2 because we already have background 1. Sorry, background 2. Then make sure it's on color 2 because we have 2 collections. So create variable, and now it's in there. The next thing you're going to do now is just to set this to 20 and here 20, so this kind of comes down, give it breathing space. I'm going to select this and just set this to medium. Then we are not going to actually leave this to be pure white. We're just going to let it be like this. Right, so once I've gotten this color, I'm just going to click here and I'm going to call this gray 100. Make sure it's on color 2 and create variables. So now I'm going to add a button. So to get a button, I'm just going to say button. Make sure the button is yep, just going to leave it at semi bold. Then select this and add auto layout, Shift A and add auto layout. So once you have this, I'm just going to give it a full color radius of 50. Then we are going to set the background color of the button to be background 2. Sorry guys, I'm just going to set the fill to background 2. So once that is done, the next thing we're going to do is to pick one of the icons. I'm just going to pick this icon stuff and move it here. Just going to make this a component, just real quick. Just pick anyone that you feel comfortable with. I'm just going to pick this one and just drop it here. No, sorry, not yet. So what I'm going to do is just to select this and create component sets. So once you have the component sets, we're just going to call these icons. No, this is going to be, we're going to rename it because there's this conflicting errors because all of them have the same name, and that is why we're getting this message. So here I'll call this profile. So before we do that, we're going to change this to icon, from property 1 to icon. Property 1 is just basically the default naming. Now I'm just going to select this and say comments, select this and say repost, get this and say share, get this and say sort. Then this should be sent. So you see what happens when we finish renaming these icons. So this will be more, then this will be home, this will be search. Here we have edits. This will be hearts and this will be file. So now that we have this, you see the error is gone. So if we select this, you're no longer going to see the error. So just pick anyone you like. Just hold your option button if you're using Mac, or button button if you're using Windows. Select this and bring it here. Now it's a component. We picked it out from our component. Then here we're just going to make this another component. We just call this button. So for this one, we are just going to remove the background. So we'll call this primary. We'll just call this secondary. Sorry. Well, we'll call this primary. Then set the property one to button. So once we've done that, the next thing you need to do is to select this icon and come here and add a property. So show icon is going to be the default. If you want to have two icons whereby you're building a product, there's some buttons that have the icons on the left and some have the icons on the right. You have to place two icons and create a property for the two icons. The left one, you're just going to say show left icon. On the right one, you're going to say show right icon. That's the best way to do it. But since you're not going to be using two icons, we're just going to have the icons floating on one direction, which is the right. So we're just going to say show icon. Now I'm just going to set this to true. You can actually set it to false. Stick around to the video. I'm going to show you more ways you can actually use variables, properties, and all these things to design better and faster. So, but for the sake of this video, I'm just using this to show you how I made this video in Figma. So just create property. Now we've set this, do the same thing, but now we are not creating another property. We're just going to tie it to this one, show property, show icon. So here, if we pull this out, holding our alternate button out, some people will just basically go to assets and you'll see your components. But I don't think I ever go to this place. I just use my alternate and just drag it out. So now that we'll have this out, I'm just going to turn it off. So here you can actually toggle it off and on. The next thing you need to do is just to bring it here, then set this to posts. So once you have it as post, I'm just going to set this to hot content, and the hot content we're going to say 20, and here we're just going to set this to 40. So set the post to 40, have it here. This and this should be on auto layout. Then couple with this one, auto layout. So now I'm going to set this to fill, is already on fill. I think this is just one of the newest updates from Figma, whereby if you set two things that are basically on the same horizontal alignment, it's automatically it will give it an auto alignment, then also make that row to be filled, so that if you drag it, it will look something like this, which is pretty much very good. Yeah. So now the next thing we're going to do now is to add another button. I'm just going to duplicate this one, bring this guy out. I think this is just one of the coolest thing about auto layout, because once you just pull out something, it just aligns by itself. So if you're still new to auto layout, please just make sure you master auto layout, or just stick around. I'll definitely make videos on how I'm going to teach you, break it down the way you're going to understand the whole auto layout techniques. So, but right now we're just trying to design this. So while you watch this, also learn some other things that the way I design. So here I'm going to set this to attach file, and this attach file, we are going to have an icon. We just toggle this on, then select the icon and come here and select, we will find file. So here is attach file. So I'm going to duplicate this and have this one here. So for this one, I'm going to say anyone can view. So once you have this here, anyone can view, we'll change this icon to probably a share icon. Just leave it there. So set this to, and this one, make it auto layout. So once the two of them is on auto layout, the thing you're going to do, sorry, I just created a section, move this inside this place, make sure it's here, and yeah, you have auto layouts. This is set to fill, and yeah, we're getting somewhere. We're moving faster than I thought. So select this, add, and bring this down a bit. We're going to use 35, or just use 40. I'll just use 45. Yeah, makes sense. So we're going to use 45 because 45 is just what I used initially. So set this, and I'm going to call this Kelvin. I have the previous one as Kelvin. Kelvin Sutherland. So once we have this like this, I'm going to set this to medium, select this to, and just leave it like this because we are still going to add auto layout to some other ones. Duplicate this one and bring it here. Now we're going to just bring this button, bring it here, select this, and just set this to more, then set this to the time, 6 minutes. Get this to medium, and select this and change it to hot content. So now we have something that looks like this. Select this one first because it doesn't have background, then hover over this one. I'm just going to move myself up a bit, hover over this, so just leave it here first, and I'm going to add these two on auto layout. So select the button and just add. One thing about auto layout is that if the frame you're trying to add auto layout doesn't have a background, the element inside is going to be selected, and when you press Shift A, it's going to mess up your work. Just to make sure it selects the entire frame that houses the stuff you want to add auto layout. So assuming I want to add auto layout with this button, if I hold my Shift and Command button down and select, it's going to allow me to select something inside, and that is not the best practice. If you select that and add auto layout, it's going to frustrate your work. So just be mindful of how you use this. So select this too, and I'm going to bring it up. So now that is up, we'll leave it like this. The next thing we're going to do now is to bring this text and the text somewhere here. So this also, this from 7, we're just going to add this to auto layout. This is separate on its own. I'm going to bring it in much later. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to add a rectangle. So this rectangle, I'm just going to set this to 20 and make sure that it's on inside this one, inside this particular frame. So I'm just going to move it inside here. So yep, now we're going to set this to 10. I just set it to 15. So this is the text, this is, so I just feel like this one and this one should be much more closer. So bring myself down on frame 7 and add auto layouts. Now this should be close, so I'm going to use 5, and the distance between these two should be 20. Yep, so we just use 15 we're using before. So here we'll have this. So now set this to fill, so it's get. So now I'm just going to reduce this to 10. So just set it to 10. The next thing we're going to do now is to pick our pen tool and draw a line to this very point. So this line, I'm going to, okay, it's already on grade. So I'm just going to set this one, add an image into this. So the way I'm going to do that is to pick this up, select this. If you're not on Figma Premium, you're not going to be allowed to add a video to this. So you can use image literally if you want. So I'm going to now bring in, go to download and bring in some of those videos that I made previously, and I'm going to check desktop. Yeah, I'm going to pick this one. So the image is coming in, the video is coming in. So once it loads, you're going to see it appear. I don't know why this is actually taking much time, so I'm just going to cancel this. Pick another video, pick the second one, the first one. Okay, I'm going to set this one. Let's see if it comes in. I don't know why it's taking too much time. So once we have the video inside, it's going to display here. Okay, yeah, so the video comes in. Sometimes it can actually delay. Most times it just come in as you post it, because this is a video. It's going to be different for a photo. So now the thing I'm going to do is to actually increase this a bit and position this the right way. Position this to the center. Now I'm just going to pick my eclipse, then reduce this to 24. Duplicate it and duplicate again, and have this one here. So select this and select this. This is already selected. I'm going to add auto layout. Now it's on wrap. We're going to bring it to the center. So once we have this on the center, I'm just going to set this to 6 and 6. Right. So once you have that, we are going to add something here. So we're going to say 3 replies, 3 replies, then duplicate again. And now we are going to say liked by Kingsley and probably 300 others. Yep. So once we have this, I'm just going to click the eclipse, just drop it again, reduce this to something like 3. Now this is it. It's just a full dot to separate these big guys. So once we have it, make sure to set this to 15. And we're going to change the color to be this. Right. So now we're going to bring in the like. I'm going to bring in the comments. I'm going to bring out the send. Then lastly, I'm going to bring out the replay. So select 3 of them and add auto layouts. This will come here. This will go here. So bring this guy here. Get this guy down a bit. Get this guy here. And this stays somewhere here. So now this is here. We can actually put it inside here. So then this guy will also go inside here. So at the end of the day, we have something that looks like this. Get these guys to be probably 20. Yep. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to make sure that this have a pattern of 10. Then this also the same thing, 10. Yep. So once we've done that, it's now time to select this one, then hover over this and find the frame and add auto layouts. So for this, I'm going to duplicate it and bring it down. Then for this, I'm going to duplicate it and bring it down here. So here, this is going to be, I'm just going to set this to like 40. Yep. So 40 is too much. I'm going to just set it to 20. So we'll have 20. I'm just going to leave this out. So for this, we're going to duplicate this and have it here. So the line continues. Now for this one, we're going to duplicate it and have somewhere here. So this and this will now be on auto layout, while this and this will now be on auto layout. So select this and add auto layouts. So we have 2 of them lined up like this. So this is going to be someone else's name. I'm going to say Monachi. Audrey. So this time will be changed to 9 minutes. You're going to reduce this text for this one. And I'm still going to open this up a bit. Yep. So once we have it like this, the next thing I'm going to do now is to set these two on auto layout. So close this, then find this frame. Look at it here. Find this frame and add auto layout. Now that we have it on auto layout, we're going to stretch this and stretch this. So we'll have here, and this also is on fill, and this is not on fill. So we're just going to say fill. Then for this, we're also going to say, we're not going to use fill on this one, because if we say fill, it's going to actually disrupt this one. So what I'm going to do now is to have this on fill, to have this on fill. Yeah, so we'll have this. So what I'm now going to do is just to set this to 40, so everything comes together. I'm going to do 50 instead. Yeah, so for the top, I'm going to do same 50. So we have it like this, set properly. So the next thing we are going to do is to add a stroke on the right, then set the stroke color to be this. Find this color, that's gray 100, but it's on minus. So I think the gray 100 that I used here, I'm going to use it. So yeah, it makes more sense. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to say follow suggestions. Pick a button here. We're going to say view all. Take off the icon, then set this to org, get this to 20. Select this one and add auto layouts. This should be 16, not regular. So we're going to have it here. Remember, there's auto layout on this one. So now the next thing we're going to do is to set this, get this to be, just because of consistency, I'm going to check this one is 45, so this will also be 45. Just set this to 45. So once this is at 45, I'm just going to add a name here. I'm just going to say name, then duplicate this, and here I'll just say follow. So set this follow to medium, select this and add auto layouts, select and add auto layouts, because we want this to be together. And we check, yeah, 15. Make sure this is on org, and we're going to add just 15, then also 10, and we'll do 10 here. So once we have that, we're just going to convert this to a component, then bring out the first one, bring it here. Now we have follow. I'm going to duplicate this one, duplicate into 6 places. So once we have up to 6, we're just going to select all of them, just take myself up and add auto layout. Select again and add auto layout. Now it's on auto layout. So select this one and push it inside here. So because this is bigger than this, is longer than this, it will not enter. So the next thing you're going to do is to check the width of this one, 368. Then we just set this to 360. That's the only way it can come inside this place. So once it's here, you just set it to fill. Then make sure this is already on fill, this is on fill. So here we will have this to be 20. Push this guy up and have it here. So once we have everything, I'm just going to now do this. I'm going to bring this one down. So here I will call this to be today's thread. Then for today's thread, we're going to have a name. Now we're going to remove, because this actually is floating here, we're going to remove the padding on this one. So the padding here will be 0 and the padding here will also be 0. We don't have any business with this one, we're just using this one. So once we have that, we have the name, and we're just going to pick it right up, just duplicate and bring it out. So just kind of and bring it inside here. Once that is done, set this to fill. Much better. Now the next thing we need to do is just to draw a rectangle. Make sure the rectangle is not bigger than the row itself. So once you have this here, set this to fill and bring it up a bit. So now we're going to give this 10, corner radius to be 10, and once you have that, it's time to start changing the names of this stuff. Our design is actually taking shape. So we're just going to go to Unsplash. Unsplash is a plugin that I use to find images. So the first image is going to be this girl. The second one is going to be this lady. This one is going to be, we're going to use a guy now. So use this guy, use this guy, use this lady, then finally use this guy. Then for this one, I'm going to use this lady. Now I'm going to look for furniture. Just go back and say interior, and we're going to find something that have a dark theme. Oh, sorry guys. Select this one and add it here. So once we have this here, we're just going to go and change this from what it is. We're just going to change to this guy, locking him. Where is it? Oh, I'm going to set this, then select this, go back to interior, select this image. Yep. So we're pretty much there. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bring myself down, then set an image for this one's portraits. We're going to use this guy, then use this one. I'll use this. Then for this, I'm going to use this, set this to this, and this, set it to this. So there is no other stuff we need to add image on. So we'll just leave it like that. So for this one, I'm just going to change it from video to image. So get my Unsplash, because we don't want to have two videos here. So I'm just going to go to interiors again and find something that looks nice. I need a dark theme, yeah, something like this. No, I don't like this one. I'm pretty much this kind of designer that I always spend time looking for images that would fit. So I'm going to try this. Nope. Use this. Nope. Yep. So we use this, and the next thing we're going to do, I'm just going to reduce this a bit, and to change the names. So we're going to change this to Stellar Williams. Then this will be Mona Sunderland. Then this will be John Wick. Then this would be Calvin Klein. Just Calvin anything. Maybe yo. So this would be Sandra Chris Della. Then here we have Emeka Raymond. Then here we have Chukwu Emeka Ima. Then just like a name that needs to be truncated at some point, we just set it like this. So if the name is very long, we just truncate. So here we need to set this button to 34. We'll just set it to 38. Same with this, set to 38. And now we're going to also do the same thing here, set to 38. This also needs to be 38. I will just leave it like this. Now the next thing we're going to do now is to get we'll get this one out, get this one out, get this guy out, get this, which other one do we need to get out? We need this, get it out. It's supposed to be 5. I need this to be out. Just going to have it here. So select the 5 of them and add auto layout. Bring it here. Make sure this is in the center. Then bring it here. So we're just going to add 20 and set this to whole content. Then also set the top and the bottom to be 20. Sorry, 20. Make sure this is in the center. Get this here. Now we're going to set it to this image, the background to be like this. So set fill to be something close to this, and we're going to have an effect, background blur, we use 20. Then we're going to give it a full corner radius of 60. Now I'm going to give it a stroke, set this stroke to be linear, and we will have this as stroke. We're just going to have, I'm just going to set the color manually. So we just use this. And for this, we use something that looks like this. So now we're going to tweak it a bit. So once we have this, I can reduce this so you can just close. If you want to add this from your, let's just add it from our variables. So we're just going to set to this. Yep. So we have this. So now I'm just going to do the same thing, stroke. Have this as 300, then set this one to be this. So once you have this, we took it a bit. And yeah, we're pretty much very close to finishing. I'm going to set this to 25 and this also to 25. So because you are here, we're going to add auto layouts here and give it, we're just going to let it to be fill, or fill means that it cannot do anything. So I'm going to use 40, yep, then 40, then bring it to the center. So once we have that, we're going to add this. Now I'm going to set this, I need the darker version, much better. Then once we have this, just make this to be 50, 50. So this is getting bigger and this is on fill. So we're going to set this to fixed and return it to 24. So now we're going to remove this padding to just basically 10. Yep. Then here, the gap here is bigger than the gap here, so this should also be 10. Yeah, so it looks much better. So once we have that, we just bring it somewhere close by. Make sure it's center aligned. Yep. So you're on home and this one is here. So the next thing, I think that's pretty much about what I designed. I'm going to preview this work. So just go to preview, go to prototype first, show prototype settings. I'm going to select this and lighten it up a bit. Then set leave this to none. Now preview. Let's see what we actually made. Now I'm going to I'm just reducing that. It was quite loud. So this is it, and everything is pretty much done. You've seen how I made this design in Figma. So the background music is actually playing, and this also is playing at the same time. So feel free to try it out, share it on LinkedIn, and tag me if you want. And I'm so much looking forward to seeing what you actually make at the end of the day. I'm going to see you in my next video. Please make sure to hit the subscription button, share this and like, comment, and tell me the next video you want to see on my platform. I'm going to see you on my next video. Bye for now.